creating intentional spaces is really keeping the outcome of what it is that you want at the forefront of your mind. So if you're somebody who is really hoping that organization gives peace, relaxation, clarity, productivity, stability. It could be stability in relationships, stability in business, stability in financial, whatever it is that you're hoping to achieve, that comes down to creating the space for this. You can only be the things that you want on the outcome of it if that space is set up properly. Welcome to Spaces Organized and Styled, the podcast, where we dive in deeper, not just into organizing our things, but the emotions that go along with them. I'm Caitlin Adkins, your host, life coach, professional organizer, NLP practitioner, and EFT practitioner. If you want to remove the roadblocks that are keeping you from reaching your desired goal, success, and fulfillment, then you are in the right spot. Thank you so much for joining me, and now let's get into it. Hey everybody, thank you for joining me for another episode of Spaces Organized and Styled, the podcast. If you are somebody who's been with us since the very beginning, you know that I used to record all of my podcast episodes with video, and I have been asked to bring it back, and so here I am back on video. Now, I think this podcast is going to be released in all of the different platforms that we have, as well as going back to the original YouTube. So if you would like to watch this episode, if you're currently listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and if you want to go ahead and watch as I give this podcast episode, feel free to go ahead and switch over to another platform that allows you to have the video capabilities. Today's podcast episode is going to be all about creating intentional spaces, and really how does creating an intentional home, an intentional space, what that actually does for not just ourselves, but everybody that lives in our home. So the whole goal of moving organizing to the holistic approach was because I did find that there was such a need for not just everybody, but like specifically my clients, to be more intentional with their space, more intentional with their things and their products and the things that they're using in their home. So as you see the general population moving to organic, natural, all of the chemical-free type things that everybody's shifting away from. This ranges from cleaning products, laundry detergents, all the way up to the foods that we consume. It also needs to take effect into the things that we have in our home. So if you have been around, you know that I always talk about creating a safe space, creating a space that is intentional for you and your family. And really it starts with that threshold that as the owner of the home or as the adult in the home, and if you are maybe living with somebody else and you don't have all that authority, then just the threshold to your own space and being able to set a limit of this is what we're going to allow in and this is what we're not. For example, oftentimes I work with parents with very young kids, and children tend to come with a lot of stuff, not just from being a baby and an infant, which obviously has a lot of things that go along with that phase of their life, but continuing throughout. You go into the school, and the school tends to give a lot of papers and a lot of assignments and a lot of artwork and flyers and things that need to come home. I will say that's been decreased significantly with the age of digital. So a lot of the information is being passed on, whether it be through their Facebook or email. A lot of that's been cut down. However, the children still come home with a lot of things. And it's about setting that limit of, okay, this is what we're going to allow into the home rather than this is what we're going to recycle or throw away. Another great example is that the little goodie bags that kids get from parties, especially now, we're going back into that back to school season, and all of the kids are going to have different activities and events and those types of things that they just come home with a lot of stuff. What do we do with the influx of all of that? And I hate to say this word crap, but it really is all of those little junk trinkets that they pick up along the way. Well, as the adult and as the parent in the household, I know this is crazy, but you have the authority to say, no, you have the right to say this stuff is not coming into our house, and you are therefore narrowing their scope of what they're interested in into the things that are actually going to benefit them, or to the things that are actually worthwhile. So those Christmas gifts and the birthday gifts that they get that are $50, $60, $80, even more, you're then forcing that child to say, okay, I'm going to put away the dollar store junk and the Five Below stuff that they pick up, and I'm just focusing on the things that are actually going to be more beneficial to them. They could be STEM related toys, they could be activities that you guys want to do as a family, but no family can get involved in a dollar store trinket that they've picked up. When you get those goodie bags and when your child comes home with a book bag full of toys, which I, from personal experience, know how this is, and going through a book bag with, I just don't understand. I'm like, school is for learning, not for toys. What you do is just start taking it all out. If you want them to still have access to that later, go ahead and put that into a separate bag, a container, a bin, but you are therefore being very intentional about what it is that you're allowing your child to have access to, what it is that you're allowing them to play with, to spend their time with. You get to decide that. I know this is like a mind-blowing concept for some people, but yes, you get to decide what it is that they have access to. So take back that control and narrow that lane for them a little bit. Now, in terms of shifting gears a little bit and just talking about, maybe you don't have children, so maybe this isn't anything that you're really concerned about or worried about. If you're somebody who lives with another individual, or if you have other family members or friends, or what are those people called? Roommates. Oh my gosh, I haven't had a roommate in so long. I forgot what they were called. So yes, if you have roommates and you cannot tell them what they can and cannot have, however, you still have a space in your home that's yours. As you may see, this is my space. This is my office space. I get to decide what it is that comes into my space, what is in my threshold. And there are definitely certain things that I have said, no, that doesn't belong here. And it's not something that I want to have in my space. Creating intentional spaces is really keeping the outcome of what it is that you want at the forefront of your mind. So if you're somebody who is really hoping that organization gives peace, relaxation, clarity, productivity, stability. It could be stability in relationships, stability in business, stability in financial, whatever it is that you're hoping to achieve, that comes down to creating the space for this. So you cannot be productive in a space that is cluttered, that is disorganized, where you cannot find anything. You can only be the things that you want on the outcome of it if that space is set up properly. For example, this is like getting really into the weeds, but having the end in mind before you start is going to keep you on the straight and narrow path. So knowing that my office space is a space that I need to consult with clients, that I need to record podcasts, that I need to do anything related to work, whether that be invoicing, website design, social media, meetings with my team, whether it's continuing development for myself and for the business and for the people that I employ, all of those things need to be represented in this space. And anything that's outside of that scope has no space here, no business being in this particular area. Now, when we create an intentional space for an area such as our kitchen, what is it that we're hoping to achieve? We want to create healthy meals for ourselves and for our families and maybe for our friends who come over. We want to create a space that is tidy and clean so we can prepare our meals in that area. We want to be able to socialize with and interact with the people who are there. So is that space being intentional, or do you have the junk mail piling up? Do you have dirty dishes that haven't been put away? Do you have things that have just become the drop zone on the countertop? And are you being intentional with the space and the end result that it is that you really want out of that kitchen? These are different ways. Go room by room and really see what is it that you're hoping to get. Another great example, a bedroom. I always say that a bedroom, and especially the master, needs to be reflected in a space that is relaxing, that is stress-free, that is conducive for a great night's sleep. I mean, we all need a full 8 hours of sleep. I know some of us could get away on a little bit less, myself included, but you need to be intentional with that space. So do you allow a TV in there? That is often a big debate, whether or not we allow a television into the master bedroom, or any bedroom space for that matter, whether that be ourselves or our children. Do we want them to have access to a TV all the time? Are we falling asleep with the TV on? Are we having the conversations with our partners in that space? Are we having that downtime and restful time? Is that a space that you want to read in? All of these things need to be taken into consideration when you're going through that particular room. Keep in mind that your master or your bedroom space is the first place that you start your day and the last place that you end your day. So it really does set the tone for how the remainder of your day is going to go. If you wake up and there's clutter and there's chaos all around you, is that the way that you want to set off on your day? Is that the way that you want your day to begin? And again, it really is keeping in mind, what is the end goal that we're hoping to achieve? Sometimes that doesn't bother people, and in that case, it's totally fine. Let's leave it the way it is. But if you're somebody who often feels like you're waking up rushed, if you're waking up still not rested, if you're waking up and you're not feeling like you're ready to seize the day, to start your day, to have the momentum, all of those things need to be taken into consideration, as well as on the flip side, your relationships, your partner, your significant other. How are you doing on communication? How are you doing having those conversations that you need to have? Is your bedroom space a sacred space? One of the things that has been instrumental in helping to implement this is to set a threshold, literally, of who is allowed in and out of that space. I will say your home is the most sacred, intimate space in your whole life, or one of the. Maybe your relationships are a little bit more sacred and intimate, but second to that, the physical space of your home is the most deepest personal space of your entire life. So keeping that in mind, how is it that we want to respect your home? How does it that we want to respect the four walls in which that you live in and you have all your worldly possessions in? Another layer deeper than that is actually the master bedroom. The master bedroom, second to the entire outcome of the home, is actually the most intimate space in any home. Obviously, there's a little leniencies here, and there's some definitely things, it doesn't apply for every situation, but as a whole, the master bedroom is one of the most intimate spaces. So really being intentional. Who is actually allowed into the master bedroom? If you're somebody with young kids, do you allow your children into the master bedroom? Are they allowed to come in the middle of the night and kind of encroach upon that space? Are they spending the night there in general? Just are they falling asleep there and they're never getting moved back to their own room? And who is allowed to enter and cross over that threshold? So being very mindful and intentional of that. I will say that putting a boundary and putting a limit and some sort of, not regulations, but just boundaries around your space is going to help you achieve that end goal that it is that you're hoping to achieve. Because without those boundaries in place, we are where we are now, which is not where you want to be. It's not your end goal. Create your goals, create your outcome of what it is that you hope to achieve. What is it that you want? Then go room by room and say, okay, how does this help me in this area of my life? If you're somebody who wants to eat healthier, if you're somebody that wants to maybe get more healthy or fit, is your kitchen conducive for this end goal? Is it where it needs to be? If you're somebody that wants to improve your finances, do you have a space to be able to do that in? Do you have a space to be able to pay the bills, to look at the mail that's coming in, to get really knowledgeable on your finances? If you're somebody that really wants to enhance and deepen your relationship, is that bedroom space a space that is conducive to do that? If you're somebody that wants to have deeper connections with your family, your children, do you have a space in which you guys can play games, you can do activities together, you can have conversations together? Is that space set up for that to be conducive in? The one thing it goes back to is that at the end of the day, you have nowhere else to hide in your home. Your home is it. This is it. This is where everything in your life happens. This is where we make decisions. It's where we have conversations. It's where we may have some of the most difficult conversations of our entire lives. And so realizing just the significance and the, I don't want to say value, but the respect that your home warrants will help you set up the boundaries necessary to say, this is what I allow into my space and this is what I do not allow into my space. Keeping in mind that this is also not just about physical things. This is also about people. You wouldn't allow a stream of people, strangers who you don't know, just into your home because it is the most sacred, intimate space of your life. You already know this. So you're not going to allow in every person that just walks by on the street into your home. Why do we do that then with our things? Why do we allow in anything up and off the street that somebody carries into our home? Every single item that has been brought into your home at one point or time was an intentional thought. There was a thought behind it. Every single thing. Everything. A coffee mug, my phone. I didn't light the candle like I wanted to before I started this. My yoga block that I'm using to help prop up on my laptop right now. Everything. Every single thing that is in your house was a thought by somebody. And so you intentionally thought, 1, I need this item, and 2, I need this item in my house. Now I want you to follow up with that and say, is this actually meeting my end goal? Is this helping me achieve the thing that it is that I've set out to achieve? Or is it becoming a distraction? Is it in my way? And if it is, it needs to be removed, because it's not going to be helping you in any way. Once you forego all of the thoughts of, well, I spent money, it cost X, Y, or Z, I can't get rid of it because so-and-so gave it to me. All of those things no longer matter. The only thing that matters is your end goal, and does it help you achieve your end goal? If it doesn't, it needs to go. Okay, I hope that in some way it has been helpful, that maybe if nothing else, it just helps to prompt the thought and kind of start thinking about the different areas in which you have in your house and what you kind of have control over. So if you have 4 walls in which are your domain that you can do what you wish, by all means, I give you full liberty and right to run with this, to create your list of goals and your outcomes, to think about what it is that you hope to achieve, and then to start looking and having a critical eye if something is actually helping you or not. And it really is by fine-tuning this over and over again that you really get down and you drill down to the things that are actually valuable. The other last thought that I'll leave you with is this is unfortunately not a one and done type thing. You can do really, really well at editing the first go around. Maybe you won't do that well the first round. It doesn't matter, because it's never going to end. This is the thing. Items will still keep coming into our home, regardless of what it is that we do. We can limit that as much as possible, but at the end of the day, things still come into our house. Mail still keeps coming. We still go shopping. We still buy things. We still go on Amazon and buy things and have items delivered. That's never going to stop. But it's about recognizing that we can have the control over deciding what stays and what's important, and letting go of the emotions that are attached to the things that are not important. I'll leave you with that little cliffhanger, and then maybe in the next episode I will give you some tools on how to process those emotions, on how to let go. So thank you guys for joining me, and I will catch you guys in the next episode. Hey, did you enjoy today's episode and want to learn more? Come hang out with me on Instagram at Spaces Organized Styled, or dive into one of my courses to really learn how to get organized and stay organized for good. Now, I would greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and be sure to sign up for our newsletter so you are the first to know when the next episode comes out. See you soon.